My name is Emily, and I work in software sales for TechFlow Solutions. Worked there for 3 years. Always hit my targets. Never missed a deadline. My reviews were always exceeds expectations. I loved my job and thought my boss Marcus respected me. That was before he decided to destroy my career for no reason at all. It started on a Tuesday morning. Marcus called me into his office with that fake serious look he gets when he wants to seem important. "Emily, we need to talk about your performance," he said. I laughed because I thought he was joking. My numbers were 120% of target that quarter. But he wasn't smiling. "I'm putting you on a performance improvement plan," he continued. My stomach dropped. A PIP? That's corporate speak for, "We're firing you, but want legal cover first." I stared at him in shock. This had to be some kind of mistake. "What performance issues?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Marcus pulled out a folder that looked like he'd prepared it weeks ago. Attitude problems. Not being a team player. Missing deadlines. Each word hit me like a punch. None of it was true. I'd never missed a single deadline. My attitude was fine. I got along with everyone. Team player? I'd covered for 3 different coworkers when they were out sick. I'd trained 2 new hires on my own time. Marcus knew all of this. Yet here he was, lying to my face with documents that made me look incompetent. "Can I see specific examples?" I asked. He shifted uncomfortably. "It's all documented here. You have 90 days to improve or you're terminated." He slid the PIP across his desk. My hands shook as I picked it up. This was really happening. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept reading the PIP over and over. The accusations were so vague they might as well have been made up. Needs to improve communication skills. Must demonstrate better teamwork. Should meet all deadlines consistently. It was like he'd copied it from a template. My husband David found me crying at 2 a.m. "This is insane," he said, after I explained everything. "You're one of their top performers. There has to be more to this story." He was right. Something else was going on. Marcus had always been friendly with me. We'd worked well together for years. This felt personal. I started thinking about recent changes at work. 3 weeks ago, Marcus hired his college buddy Ryan for a senior role. Ryan had been making comments about wanting my accounts. Last week I'd overheard him telling Marcus that the team needed fresh blood. Now it all made sense. The next morning, I decided to fight back. If Marcus wanted to play games, I'd play smarter. I went online and researched everything about PIPs and wrongful termination. I learned that companies use fake PIPs to avoid unemployment claims and potential lawsuits, but they have to follow specific procedures. I also discovered something interesting. In our state, I could legally record conversations as long as I was part of them. One-party consent law. If Marcus was planning to lie about me, I'd have proof of what he actually said. I downloaded a recording app on my phone and tested it. Crystal clear audio. My plan was simple. Document everything. Record every conversation. Build an iron-tight case that would prove this PIP was retaliation, not performance-based. I wasn't going down without a fight. Marcus had picked the wrong person to mess with. I walked into work that Wednesday with my phone ready to record. I kept it in my jacket pocket with the recording app open. Every meeting, every conversation, every interaction with Marcus would be documented. I felt nervous, but determined. This was war now. My first recorded conversation happened during our weekly team meeting. Marcus made several comments that proved his bias. "We need people who can handle pressure," he said, looking directly at me. "Some team members crack under stress." I kept my face neutral while my phone captured every word. After the meeting, he pulled me aside. "Emily, I hope you understand this PIP is for your own good," he said. His voice was different now, condescending and fake. "I'm trying to help you succeed here." I wanted to scream that I was already succeeding, but I just nodded and smiled. "I appreciate the feedback, Marcus. Can you give me specific examples of where I need to improve?" I asked. He fumbled for words. "Just general attitude improvements. You'll figure it out." More vague nonsense. My phone recorded all of it. This guy was digging his own grave. Over the next week, I collected evidence like a detective. I printed out my sales reports showing consistent high performance. I saved emails from clients praising my work. I documented every project I'd completed ahead of schedule. The evidence was overwhelming. I was a model employee. Meanwhile, Marcus kept making weird comments. During a client call, he said, "Emily tends to overpromise. I have to keep an eye on her." The client looked confused because I'd always delivered exactly what I promised. My phone caught every lie he told about me. I also started noticing how he treated other women on the team versus the men. He interrupted women constantly but let men finish their thoughts. He gave credit for women's ideas to male colleagues. I wasn't his only target. I was just the most successful woman he needed to eliminate. 2 weeks into my PIP, I scheduled a meeting with HR. I needed to create an official record of what was happening. I met with Janet, the HR director, and carefully explained my concerns. I didn't mention the recordings yet. That would come later. "Marcus put me on a PIP, but I can't understand why," I told Janet. "My performance has always been excellent. I'm wondering if there's been some kind of mistake." I showed her my sales numbers and positive client feedback. Her eyebrows raised as she reviewed the documents. "These are impressive results, Emily. Let me look into this situation." Janet seemed genuinely surprised by the disconnect between my performance and the PIP. She promised to investigate and get back to me within a week. I felt hopeful for the first time since this nightmare began. But Marcus wasn't done with his games. The next day, he scheduled a performance check-in meeting. I made sure my phone was recording as I walked into his office. He had that smug look again, like he was enjoying this. "Emily, I've been thinking about your situation," he started. "Maybe this company just isn't the right fit for you. Have you considered looking for opportunities elsewhere?" He was trying to pressure me to quit. Classic move to avoid unemployment benefits and legal issues. "I love working here, Marcus. I'm committed to meeting the goals in my PIP," I replied professionally. He looked disappointed that I wasn't taking the bait. "Well, we'll see how these 90 days go," he said with a fake smile. Every word went straight to my recording. That weekend, I researched employment lawyers online. I found Sarah Chen, a specialist in workplace discrimination and wrongful termination. Her reviews were excellent, and she offered free consultations. I called her Monday morning during my lunch break. "Emily, what you're describing sounds like constructive dismissal," Sarah explained after I told her the story. "They're trying to force you out without technically firing you. Do you have any evidence of discrimination or retaliation?" I told her about my recordings and documentation. "Those recordings could be crucial," she said. "In your state, they're perfectly legal. Keep documenting everything. If they terminate you, we'll have a strong case for wrongful dismissal and possibly discrimination." Having legal backup gave me confidence. I wasn't fighting this battle alone anymore. Back at work, I implemented Sarah's advice. I started copying important emails to my personal account. I documented every meeting in detailed notes with dates and times. I kept track of Marcus's behavior toward other women on the team. During this time, I learned something shocking. I was talking with my coworker Lisa when she mentioned that Marcus had asked her weird questions about me. "He wanted to know if you seemed stressed lately, if you were having problems at home, stuff like that," she said. This proved Marcus had been planning my PIP for weeks, maybe months. He'd been fishing for ammunition to use against me. But Lisa's information would backfire on him. She was willing to testify that he'd been targeting me before any performance issues existed. 3 weeks into my PIP, Marcus called another meeting. This time he brought Janet from HR. I activated my recording app as we sat down. "Emily, we need to discuss some concerning incidents," Marcus began. He pulled out a file with more false accusations. "Several team members have complained about your attitude." I looked at Janet, who seemed uncomfortable. "Can I know who made these complaints and what specifically they said?" I asked. Marcus got flustered. "That's confidential. The point is, there's a pattern of behavior here." But Janet intervened. "Actually, Marcus, we should provide specific examples if we're documenting performance issues." She was doing her job properly, which wasn't helping Marcus's fake case. After the meeting, Janet asked to speak with me privately. "Emily, I've been reviewing your file, and I'm concerned about some inconsistencies," she said. "Your performance reviews don't match the issues Marcus is raising. Can you help me understand what's happening?" I decided to trust Janet. "I think this PIP is retaliation, not performance-based," I said carefully. I have documentation showing my actual performance versus the claims being made. I showed her some of my evidence, though I held back the recordings for now. Janet looked troubled. These sales numbers are excellent, Emily. You're one of our top performers. Let me dig deeper into this situation. I could see she was starting to realize that Marcus was lying. Having HR on my side would be crucial for what came next. The next week, Marcus made his biggest mistake yet. During a team meeting, he announced that Ryan would be taking over 2 of my biggest accounts. We're redistributing some responsibilities to balance workloads, he explained. But everyone knew these were my most profitable accounts. After the meeting, I confronted him privately. Marcus, those accounts represent 40% of my sales target. How am I supposed to meet my PIP goals without them? He just shrugged. You'll have to work harder on your remaining accounts, he said coldly. This was the smoking gun I needed. He was actively sabotaging my ability to succeed during my PIP. My phone recorded every word of our conversation. Marcus had just provided legal proof that the PIP was designed to fail, not help me improve. I immediately called Sarah Chen and explained what happened. That's perfect evidence of bad faith, she said excitedly. They can't put you on a performance plan and then remove the tools you need to perform. This shows clear intent to terminate you, regardless of your efforts. Sarah advised me to send an email to Marcus and Janet, documenting the account reassignment and asking for clarification. Get everything in writing, she said. If they respond, great. If they don't respond, that's also evidence. I sent the email that afternoon, carefully worded to sound professional while creating a legal record. I want to confirm my understanding of today's account reassignment and how it affects my PIP goals. I copied Janet to ensure HR saw the situation clearly. Marcus's response email was even more damaging than I hoped. He wrote, "The account reassignment is final. You need to focus on improving your attitude and teamwork skills rather than worrying about sales numbers." He completely avoided addressing how I could meet my targets. Janet responded separately, asking for a meeting to discuss the situation. When we met, she looked frustrated. "Emily, I can't understand the logic behind removing your accounts during a performance improvement period. Can you walk me through your concerns about this PIP?" I laid out everything carefully. The timing after Ryan's hiring, the vague accusations with no specific examples, the account removal that made success impossible, my stellar performance history. Janet took detailed notes and promised a thorough investigation. While Janet investigated, Marcus escalated his harassment. He started micromanaging everything I did. He questioned every client interaction. He criticized my emails and reports that had never been problems before. I recorded all of it. The worst incident happened during a client presentation. Marcus interrupted me 3 times, contradicted my statements, and basically undermined me in front of the customer. After the meeting, the client actually called me privately to ask if everything was okay. "Your boss seemed to have issues with your presentation, but I thought you did great," the client said. I thanked him professionally, but internally I was furious. Marcus was damaging my reputation with clients now. This had gone too far. That evening I had a long conversation with my husband David about the situation. "This is affecting your health, Emily," he said. "You're not sleeping. You're stressed all the time. Maybe you should just find another job." But I refused to give up. If I quit now, Marcus wins. He gets to destroy another woman's career and face no consequences. Plus, we need the income while I job search. I have to see this through. David supported my decision, even though he was worried about me. I also realized that other women at the company were watching my situation. If I let Marcus get away with this, he'd do it to someone else. I had a responsibility to fight back, not just for me, but for every woman who might be his next target. Janet called me for another meeting after completing her investigation. "Emily, I've reviewed everything, and I have serious concerns about your PIP," she began. "Your performance history doesn't support the claims that were made. I'm going to recommend that we terminate the PIP immediately." I felt a surge of hope, but Janet continued. "However, Marcus is pushing back strongly. He insists there are performance issues that aren't captured in your sales numbers. This is creating a difficult situation for HR." I could see she was caught between doing the right thing and office politics. "What are my options, Janet?" I asked. She looked uncomfortable. Officially, the PIP continues for now, but I want you to know that HR is aware of the irregularities in your case. Please keep documenting everything. She was telling me to keep building my legal case. The next day, Marcus called me into his office for what he called a final warning meeting. I had my phone recording as usual. "Emily, your attitude during this PIP has been unacceptable," he said. "You're not showing the improvement we expected." "Can you give me specific examples of attitude problems?" I asked. He couldn't provide any real examples, just vague statements about not being coachable and resisting feedback. Meanwhile, I'd been following every instruction he'd given me. "I'm recommending to HR that we accelerate your termination timeline," he concluded. "You have 2 weeks to show dramatic improvement, or you're gone." This was it. The threat I'd been expecting. My phone captured every word of his illegal intimidation tactics. I called Sarah Chen immediately after the meeting. "He's trying to speed up your termination because HR is asking questions," she explained. "This is actually good for our case. It shows he's panicking and making mistakes." Sarah advised me to send another email documenting the meeting and the new timeline. "Make sure HR knows about this threat. They need to see that Marcus is acting outside normal procedures." I sent the email within an hour, copying Janet and creating another paper trail. That afternoon, Janet called me. "Emily, I received your email about the accelerated timeline. That's not consistent with standard PIP procedures. I need to speak with Marcus about this immediately." Finally, HR was stepping in to stop Marcus's games. Over the weekend, I prepared for what I knew would be the final showdown. I organized all my evidence: recordings, emails, performance reviews, client testimonials, everything. Sarah reviewed it all and confirmed we had an excellent case for wrongful termination and retaliation. "Even if they fire you, we can prove this was discriminatory and in bad faith," Sarah assured me. "You'll get unemployment benefits, severance pay, and potentially damages for emotional distress." Marcus picked the wrong person to mess with. Monday morning, I walked into the office knowing it might be my last day. But I wasn't scared anymore. I had documentation proving my innocence and Marcus's guilt. Whatever happened next, I was ready for it. Janet called me into a meeting first thing Monday morning. Marcus was there too, looking nervous. "After reviewing Emily's PIP case thoroughly, I have some concerns about the process that was followed," Janet began. She laid out her findings methodically. No specific performance examples. Account removal during the improvement period. Acceleration of timeline without cause. "These irregularities make it difficult for HR to support the current PIP," she concluded. Marcus tried to argue, but Janet cut him off. "The evidence doesn't support your claims, Marcus. Emily's performance history speaks for itself." I watched his confident expression crumble as HR officially sided with me. The tables had finally turned. "Emily, we're terminating your PIP immediately," Janet announced. "Your performance record clearly shows you don't need improvement. We apologize for any stress the situation caused." Marcus looked like he'd swallowed a lemon. His plan had completely backfired. But I wasn't satisfied with just winning. "Janet, I'm concerned that this could happen to other employees," I said. "I'd like to discuss the patterns I've noticed to prevent future issues." I was ready to expose Marcus's treatment of women across the company. Janet agreed to a follow-up meeting where I could present my broader concerns. I had documentation of Marcus's bias toward female employees, and HR needed to know about it. This was bigger than just my PIP. It was about changing the culture. In my meeting with Janet and the senior HR manager, I presented everything. Marcus's comments about women employees, his interrupting and undermining female team members, the pattern of giving men credit for women's ideas. I had recordings and witness statements proving systematic discrimination. "This is very concerning, Emily," the senior HR manager said. "We take discrimination seriously. We'll be conducting a full investigation into Marcus's management practices." I could see they were realizing they had a much bigger problem than one bad PIP. Within a week, Marcus was placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Other women came forward with similar stories once they knew someone was listening. My decision to fight back had opened the floodgates. Change was finally happening. 3 months later, Marcus was terminated for discriminatory management practices. Ryan, his buddy who'd gotten my accounts, was also let go for ethics violations. The company implemented new training programs and oversight procedures to prevent future discrimination. I kept my job and got promoted to senior sales manager. My new boss actually appreciates my work and treats all employees fairly. The hostile environment Marcus created is gone, replaced by a culture where everyone can succeed based on merit. Looking back, I'm glad I fought instead of just finding another job. It was scary and stressful, but it was worth it. I proved that bullies like Marcus can be stopped if you're smart, document everything, and refuse to give up. Sometimes the only way out is through, and I came through stronger than ever. The best part? I kept all my recordings. They're safely stored away, just in case I ever need them again.